Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Benchmade Griptilian. This is just the base, bog standard, full-size Griptilian. I know there have been a whole bunch of other reviews of this, but let me explain why I have this and why I decided to do a video on it. I know we've been a bit Benchmade heavy lately on this channel, mostly with 940s. I did a little ode to the 940. I had a special edition in there you guys wanted to see a full review of, so I did that. And now we're doing this. Yes, this has been out for going on 10 years, maybe over that now. It's been out for a long time. And this is just the bog standard Griptilian with the Grivery handles, 154 cm blade. They've been making it for a long time, but when I did all the 940 stuff, a lot of you said, hey, that's not the Benchmade. I kind of called it like the best Benchmade, the most typical Benchmade. They're like, no, the Griptilian is, and they sell more of them, which they do sell more Griptilians than they do 940s because these are a lot cheaper. I listened to you, and I went out and got one, and also because I had a 20% off coupon at REI, so that's why I went and got it. And then also, now they don't make the Mel Pardue Griptilian anymore. Or I'm sorry, this is the Mel Pardue. They don't make the Doug Ritter Griptilian anymore. Now Hogue is making that, which is basically kind of the same, but G10 handles, different steel. I think it's M390. They're like 150 some bucks, but that was kind of an interesting development, and I'm going to be getting one of those, so I wanted to have a regular Griptilian to kind of compare it to, and also, it's a good knife just to have around for a bit for, you know, comparisons, all that kind of stuff. It is definitely an extremely popular EDC knife. It is definitely an EDC legend, absolutely, for sure. And never really owned one for long. I had a couple mini grips, and they never fit my hands quite right. I always wanted to get a full-size one, so I'm glad to have spent some time with one. It is a pretty cool knife. I kind of see why people love it so much. In other ways, I kind of don't. We'll get into that. It comes in a million different versions. You can get it in several different steels, a billion different colors. There's been a whole bunch of dealer exclusives, all kind of stuff. I'm not even going to try to go and tell you about all those. Most common are this. There's a version, I think it's called the HG, with a thumb hole deployment, which is really nice, just like they have on the minis. There's a 20 CV with gray G10 handles, which is also really, really nice. And that's kind of the version I wish I had, but I didn't want to spend the money on it at this particular point. But it is a cool knife. And let's get into why. Let's do some stats first. That's a good place to start, right? You have an overall length of just a hair over 8 inches, blade length of 3.45 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.12 inches, handle thickness of 0.64, which is pretty fat, but that's for a good reason. We'll get into that later. And a weight, I do want to take a moment to applaud Benchmade. Their site says 3.88 ounces, and on my scale, that is precisely what it weighed. Right down to exactly 3.88 ounces. That never happens. It's usually just a little bit off here and there. But I don't know if it's just this one, but good job, Benchmade. You were very honest about your weights, right down to the 100th. It was pretty cool. I just thought that was funny. Let's do some size comparisons. First, let's compare it against some other Benchmades. You have the 940 that I talked about earlier. As you can see, it's pretty similar overall length to the 940, but very much more of a beefy knife. You have against the only other knife that Benchmade makes right now, which I think is probably close in sales numbers to this, is the Benchmade Bug Out. A little bit bigger than a Bug Out. I know the Bug Out has been just a huge smash hit for Benchmade, so I'm not. I know that the last I heard this was still their #1 selling knife, but I bet the Bug Out isn't too far behind. Also similar in price too. So, and then now we'll go to some other ones. We have your Rat Model 1. A little bit smaller than a Model 1. And lastly, we'll throw in a knife this is often compared to your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. This is the Crewwear polished handle one. If I had a standard plain old PM2, I would probably do a comparison with these two, even though I know other people have done it before, but just for my own giggles. But this is not the standard one at all, so it's not really a comparable one to that. But if you get this in the S30V with the G10, it's very, very similar in price and use and all those kind of things. All right. Now, let's talk about this knife. First of all, again, I will say I'm still doing good on the Benchmade thing. Everybody complains about quality control issues. I don't know. Maybe I'm just I sacrificed to the right gods or something. But again, this is haven't touched it since I got it from REI, and it's perfect centering, no blade play, grind looks good, all those things. This is a late production. It is one that they just got in from Benchmade. They just got a new shipment in, so it is very recent production. I think Benchmade has come a long way in that. If it was a problem before, I don't think it is anymore. I think that they've just kind of cleaned up their act, so to speak. It seems like lately anyway. I've had very good luck lately. But yeah, quality and stuff is perfect. It doesn't... I guess we'll talk about this now. This has the grivery handles, they call it on here, which is their word for, fancy plastic. It just doesn't feel as nice as even some other companies' fancy plastic. Spyderco's fancy plastic feels better. Even this Rat, which is what I think these are like $40, $50, feels a bit nicer. It's very grippy, hence the catchy name, but where it's grippy, it feels a bit harsh, and you can hear that sound. It just feels kind of echoey, and even the bug out feels. It still makes that plasticky sound, but I don't know. I know it's the same exact material, same factory and everything, but even the bug out, maybe it's just the pattern they use, because this has more of that kind of tighter diamond weave than this is almost like little diamond studs. I don't know. Even this feels a little bit nicer than the Griptilian, but we're all looking at more expensive knives. When you're looking at the bug out is $115 or something like that. This is $102 right now for this particular version. Yeah, I don't know. I just think they could smooth it out and still be allowed to call it the Griptilian, I think. It's just, I don't know. And especially these things here, the jimping that's on the plastic, I don't know. Just feels kind of cheap. But yeah, that's the only real complaint I have at quality-wise. As I said, it's perfectly good quality, perfectly good centering, all that kind of stuff. The blade, you're looking at 154 cm, as I said, which I think for $102 is fine. It's not a steel that a whole lot of people are using anymore. This is almost kind of, I would call it a legacy steel for Benchmade. They seem to be moving away from it, but a lot of their older models still have it. You're looking at about 26 thousandths behind the edge, and blade thickness, as I said, 0.12 inches. It's not a slicing machine by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty good. It's not as good as a PM2, but it still slices pretty well. Very good for piercing stuff. It does have a very good tip on it. I do like that about it a whole lot. That's been one of my favorite things using it the last few days. It is nice to have that good sturdy tip. That's definitely an advantage it has over the PM2, I think. The PM2's tips are known to be a bit dainty, where this is not. Ergonomically, yeah, it's really good. As I said, the mini Griptilian, I really liked it ergonomically, but it was just that much too small for my hands. I have large size hand, glove size with very skinny fingers, and it was my pinky was just hanging just a little bit. This is an awesome ergonomically. All this grippy stuff on here that I just complained about because it feels cheap, it works. This thing ain't going nowhere in your hand. It is not going anywhere. It's great for just kind of a working texture. And that groovery I complained about earlier, it will probably wear pretty well. And yeah, it ain't going nowhere. It's a very good grippy knife. No hot spots whatsoever. Does not come with a deep carry clip on this model. Some models of this do. I believe the 20CV G10 version, which is a lot more money, does come with a deep carry clip. But the nice thing is, Benchmade, you just call them up and you ask for one, and they give it to you. So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if I'm going to bother with this one, because I think if I keep this around, I'm going to use it as kind of a worker knife, and I don't really need a deep carry clip for that. This isn't something I'm going to carry when I'm out and about around town. I have fancier stuff for that, so I'll probably just keep the stock clip on it. So now we're talking about carry. It carries pretty good. Given the thickness of the handle, which is one of the things that makes it so comfortable in your hand, I wasn't expecting it to carry that great, but it's not bad. The only thing that I don't like about it is, again, back here it's got this jimping, which is very functional. I don't know if you call that jimping. It's not cut in. These ridges, which are very functional, but it does rub against your hand going in and out of your pocket a little bit. But again, the purpose I'm going to use this is for a real like working knife, and it's fine. It doesn't bother me a whole lot, but you know it's there, so I got to mention it. Pretty lightweight, you know, under 4 ounces. I think it could be lighter. I think that was actually, I was kind of surprised that it was that heavy. Excuse me, that it was that heavy. I thought more like 3.1, 3.2 ounces or something, but it's a bit heavier than I expected. Action-wise, it's an axis lock. It works pretty great, and this is kind of the reason why a lot of you said I should try this. I should have one of these, because I said the 940 was the best execution of the axis lock, and you said no, the Griptilian is. Well, after having it, it works really well, but I still think the 940 just works a bit better. It's still excellent. It's still a great axis lock. I love axis locks. I am a complete axis lock addict. So, but it's very smooth. All I've done to this is blow it out with. I haven't taken it apart. You know, I blew it out with some air. That's all I did, because it was just a tick stiff out of the box, and sometimes hitting them with some compressed air will kind of accelerate the break-in period that you'd usually get. So yeah, action's great. So my overall conclusion is this: the EDC legend that everybody talks about it being. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it is really comfortable. It's got a lot of things going for it. The ergonomics are outstanding. I do like the blade. Like I said, I like that it's got some good piercing capability and still being a decent slicer. I don't have a problem with the blade steel they use. But there's just some aspects of it that feel a bit cheap. And that I don't like for $102. Yeah, this came out almost 10 years ago or over. So yeah, things have changed. You know, at this price range now, you expect really nice G10. You expect a blade steel that's more commonly used now. Little things like that. But the overall design is great. And I do really love, I know from having one of the mini grips, I do really love the configuration of the gray G10 20CV version. And that's, like I said, I wish I had, and I kind of wish I had the thumb hole deployment instead of the thumb studs. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great. The base one, I don't know. I think for $102, you can probably find some stuff that's just a little bit better. But the overall design is outstanding, and you don't have to buy this $102 version. There's other ones out there, and I'd kind of recommend you go find one of the other ones. I'm just not in love with the plasticiness. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.